Друзья, привет! Компания Pop Music представляет канал «Живой уголок». Место, где мы в прямом эфире общаемся с музыкантами и другими интересными людьми, которые находятся где-то возле музыки. Сегодня у нас очередной эфир в стиле «Let me speak from my heart». То есть у нас находится в гостях иностранный гость, заслуженный, известный, настоящий мастер, шредер, преподаватель. В общем, Энди Джеймс, вы все его знаете. У него сегодня будет мастер-класс в Мусторге в 6 часов. Он будет рассказывать про босс, про Роланд и другие интересные вещи. Но к нам он успел заскочить на какую-то вот секунду, буквально приехав из Питера. К сожалению, времени мало. Он не успеет ответить на ваши вопросы. Он не будет играть, потому что, опять-таки, нет времени. А ему нужно только разогреваться часа 2-3. Вы знаете, что все эти шредеры это не просто так. Поэтому просто пообщаемся. Итак, понеслась. Say hello to our people.
Hello, Russia. Thanks for having me.
Привет, Россия. Рад видеть вас.
Yeah, so...
Is it your first visit to Russia? Have you ever been?
It is, yeah. I've never been to Russia before, so...
Это мой первый визит в Россию. До этого ни разу не был здесь.
So, yeah, first time for me in St. Petersburg yesterday, and then, obviously, Moscow today.
Первый раз в Санкт-Петербурге вчера и сегодня в Москве.
How do you feel? Do you like our country?
It's cool, yeah. I mean, it's similar weather to the UK at the moment. I actually thought it was going to be snow everywhere, but it was, yeah.
Мне понравилось. Примерно такая же погода, как и в Англии. Я ожидал, что будет везде снег и холод, но в итоге оказалось так же.
Do you know anything from our music?
Well, Dmitry was playing some stuff to me yesterday, because I said to him, I said, what is the sort of main thing in Russia, like musically? And he played me like 3 bands. One of them was Little Big, and then there was 2 others.
Hatters and Leningrad. Да, мы вчера ехали по Санкт-Петербургу и слушали группы Ленинград, Шляпники и Little Big.
Ну, а я хочу сказать, что нам сегодня помогает в переводе менеджер компании, представительства компании Роланд и босс в России Дмитрий Багель. Это его голос звучит за кадром. Итак, продолжаем. Спросим нашего артиста о детских годах, его увлечении Guns N' Roses. I read a lot of interview with you where you talk that you start playing guitar after Guns N' Roses because you like it.
Yeah.
What do you think about Slash and his technique now?
I mean, when I first got into like playing and stuff like that, he was like the biggest influence for me in terms of like, the sort of melodic playing, some of the more technical aspects of guitar playing. I mean, obviously there's more technical guitar players out there, but there was just something about his playing that got me into into that music.
Когда я только начинал, Слэш на меня оказал огромное влияние, все его мелодические ходы, все подобное.
Okay, I also read that you was a big fan of Satriani in your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, I was just because I'm doing gaps, so I was gonna say about Slash and what I think about his technique now. I think about, his music has definitely evolved into, like, I'm still a fan of his playing. And I think now, because he doesn't drink as much, his live playing is definitely much better. Because I didn't see Slash live until probably a few years ago at Download. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Я, пожалуй, продолжу говорить про Слэша. Глядя на то, как сейчас он играет, видимо, потому что он в последнее время перестал пить, стал больше заниматься, его опыт в живом выступлении стал гораздо интереснее, техника повысилась.
Did you ever meet him, talk to him?
No, he's like one of the only people that I've kind of grew up listening to that are like a big influence for me that I've never met. I've been in the same room as him, but not directly talking. Kind of, hopefully one day, but... Yeah.
Вопрос был, встречался ли Энди когда-нибудь со Слэшем? Ответ Энди – нет. Мы были рядом, находились в одной комнате, но вот так, чтобы мы общались, такого не было.
But do you want it? Do you hope on it?
Yeah, I don't really get starstruck, but I think I wouldn't know what to say, I don't think. So,
Вопрос был, хотел бы ты? Энди отвечает, что в целом было бы неплохо, но он не охотник за звездами, поэтому как бы, мы так вот особо... Выпадет возможность, то, наверное, но он также не понимает, что ему говорить.
You can talk to him. You're my father.
I don't know. That would be weird. Like, anyway,
Look how I can play your song.
yeah, I haven't played any Guns N' Roses stuff in a while. I think I played the Sweet Child of Mine riff last night just because I was talking about Slash then, and you know, who would have thought that string skipping would make so much money?
Вопрос был, сыграем мы несколько их композиций, на что Энди отвечает, что он в свое время играл композиции Guns N' Roses, и, может быть, даже вчера, когда разминался, вспоминал основную тему песни Sweet Child of Mine.
Is it easy for you?
Not in the beginning. I was playing it wrong for a long time, and then someone showed me how to play it, and then, you know, it made sense.
Вопрос был, сложный ли это мотив для Энди. Энди отвечает, нет, для начинающего уровня, тогда, когда он только начинал.
But let me switch to Joe Satriani.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told in interview that you was a big fan on him, but now Joe play another kind of music, not such hard rock like earlier.
Yeah.
What kind of Satriani do you like more? Satriani from past or from now?
I don't know. It's tough because I'm kind of thinking that I like the older Satriani stuff. Like my favourite album of his is Crystal Planet. So that's like if I'm going to listen to any Joe Satriani, that's the album that I put on generally.
Вопрос был, Энди является большим поклонником творчества Джо Сатриани, но так как у Джо Сатриани творчество в начале и в конце отличается, вопрос был таков, что больше ему нравится, на что Энди отвечает, что в принципе его любимый альбом это Crystal Planet.
Yeah, so it'll be, I think, like early influence stuff, like Surfing with the Alien, obviously. Kind of funny story with that. Someone gave me a vinyl version of Surfing with the Alien, and the record player that I had like a 2-speed thing on it. So when I was first listening to Joe Satriani, it was on double speed. So everything was just like really fast and crazy, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to play this stuff. It's just
Like
nuts. Yeah, but then I realised, obviously, I had it on the wrong setting, and I put it back, and I was like, initially the songs sounded wrong, but they were easily, you know, I could sort of start to play some of that stuff.
Когда-то мне, говорит, попала в руки виниловая пластинка Джо Сатриани, и я стал ее слушать на ускоренной версии, было на проигрывателе 2 скорости. Я когда это все услышал, я подумал, что что-то происходит не так, потому что все звучит очень быстро. Но, тем не менее, звучало все круто. И когда я потом уже понял, что я не на тех установках это все слушаю, я переключил, и все поменялось.
Maybe that's the reason that you can play fast.
No, I never got it to that kind of speed. I remember reading a thing with Ingvi Mальmstina, actually. A similar thing happened to him, where he'd be playing stuff back that he recorded, but it would be playing back faster than how he played it. So he would then be trying to play what the tape sounded like of his playing. So that's kind of interesting.
Do a pause. I can't understand.
Sorry.
Do a pause. More pause
Okay.
with your speech.
All right.
Repeat.
I don't know what I said now. Can't remember.
Но я сказал, что, возможно, ты поэтому так быстро и играешь, что слушал Сатриани на ускоренной. Вот, Энди рассмеялся и сказал, что нет, конечно, но, в принципе, говорит, он слышал, что у Ингви Мальмстина было нечто похожее, что он как бы играл под записи и записями, которые были ускорены, и поэтому куда-то вот рос туда вперед. Maybe for many people who listen to music, it's the same problem to play your songs,
Right.
because it seems too fast.
Yeah, sometimes I have the same problem, but you know, I have to. If I'm gonna play my stuff, I generally have to, you know, rehearse it quite a bit to then, you know, be able to play it properly. No.
Но говорит, что иногда у него даже есть проблемы и с игрой своего материала, который достаточно быстрый. Дим, ты не будешь переводить?
Говорите, пока мне сейчас нужно отойти срочно.
Но хорошо, поперевожу. How long do you need for warming up before playing some fast things? Я спрашиваю, сколько ему нужно времени на разогрев, чтобы играть свои быстрые вещи?
Normally, probably anywhere between 20 minutes to half an hour. At the moment, I've got some nerve damage in my finger, so it takes a little bit longer to just kind of not have any pain like when I'm playing. But it's a lot better now. It was worse 2 months ago. Like I couldn't play at all, so I'm kind of just getting back to normal.
Ну, обычно ему нужно 20-30 минут, потому что у него, в принципе, есть повреждение пальца, которое он получил, по-моему, пару месяцев назад, и нужно прийти в норму. Okay, I listened to your new album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. You have a great job.
Thanks, man.
How do you see the difference between this album and previous? Let me translate.
Yeah, okay.
Я послушал новый альбом Энди, называется Rival, вышел в этом году, и спросил, как он видит разницу между этим альбомом и предыдущим, именно вот его видение.
Yeah, so are you talking about Exodus, the album before? I mean, that was a collection of demos, mainly a lot of them were showcasing tones for the Kemper, for STL. And I'd recently just kind of got involved with a record label in America. And they said, oh, we want to put an album out. And so I had this album, but I had to remix a lot of the songs so it all sounded like an album kind of thing. So it was something releasable, you know what I mean? So the difference between that and this new album was intentional. You know, like I had a sound that I wanted to record. And then I basically started from the beginning and just did it properly, you know, rather than trying to make an album out of stuff that I had, you know.
Я постараюсь это все вспомнить. Но, в принципе, предыдущий альбом, это была просто основывался на куче демок его усилителя Кемпер. А новый альбом он заключил уже контракт с американским лейблом. Там все было по-взрослому, это был уже подход как к альбому, все это придумывалось, и это вот как-то все оно и вышло. How long did it take for creating the stuff for a new album?
Well, me and my old singer, Chris Clancy from the band Wearing Scars, we had already started writing demos for the next album. So a lot of those songs were kind of reworked, but I started again. But there's a lot of his vocal melodies that he wrote that I started to experiment with on the guitar. So it was a different approach for me. I was not looking at this album from a guitar perspective, but more from a vocal perspective. And I think it's yielded some really good results in terms of, like, I think the songs maybe came out better than some of the stuff I've done previously because of that.
Ну, в общем, они как-то различаются, да, я думаю, это достаточно. На самом деле, Энди говорит о том, что подход был совершенно другим, поскольку он привлек вокалиста, и изначально это все базировалось не на каких-то его гитарных вещах, а на тех мелодиях, которые придумал вокалист. И уже все плясалось от вокалиста, это была вот, ну, песенная, музыкальная вещь, что ли. Окей. How did you record this album? I mean, what the gear do you use? Did you record it home studio or maybe other studio?
No, I mean, all the drums for most of the album were already recorded in another studio. So I took those drum sessions and I made I kind of made samples out of the drums, and then I kind of just, because I wanted this sort of, the sound that's on the record to be a little bit more electronic, I suppose, and a little bit more produced than having, like, you know, raw drums and everything. So I did that, but that was the only thing that was done in another studio. The rest of it I did at home on my iMac and guitar and plugins. That's it. And the guitar sound was Kemper.
Но барабаны были записаны в какой-то внешней студии, а гитары писались дома в домашней студии на iMac и при помощи всяких разных плагинов. А вопрос был о том, как он все это записывал и вообще производил альбом. Was it difficult to you to record this album? Did you make a lot of takes, maybe hundreds, or it was easy?
No. I mean, whenever I record, there's always hours and hours and hours of takes, practice, writing, just to make sure that the melodies and the guitar parts are the only possible outcome for each song that those songs could be. Like, it wouldn't have been possible for it to have another melody or another guitar part, you know what I mean? So I purposefully sat down and just made sure that everything that was on the record there wasn't any wasted notes or any bits that just, I was like, oh yeah, don't worry about that, I'll move on to the next bit. You know, everything was kind of pre-worked out and planned. But yeah, you know, I've been studying like recording and mixing for the last few years now. I mean, I've been able to do it since I was 16, you know, just record my own demos and stuff, but I've never really actually properly learned how to do it so it sounds like a pro record. So yeah, I've been doing that, and then I decided with this album, I wanted to do it all myself because I had the vision of what I wanted it to be, and I just felt like if I'd have worked with somebody else, it wouldn't have turned out the way I wanted it. You know what I mean?
И, в принципе, мы уже достаточно близки к этому, потому что я немножко подзабываю того, о чем говорил Энди. Но вопрос касался, насколько легко было записывать альбом. Вообще, было ли там какие-то много дублей, или все писалось легко. И Энди говорит, что, несмотря на то, что он 16 лет записывает демо и много, но он никогда не учился этому. И в работе над альбомом все было тяжело, сложно, и многое дописывалось, переписывалось. Вот, как-то так. И идем дальше, в общем. Сейчас спрошу про технику, насколько вообще Энди удовлетворяет уровень его технического мастерства. Are you happy with your technique? Or maybe do you want to improve something? Do you work on it? Because it seems to me there are no one guitar player who is happy with his technique. And everybody think that you have a lot of to improve.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, there's always room for improvement, you know, but I don't know, like, weirdly enough for me, the focus isn't about technique anymore.
Anymore?
No, because like when I was younger, I wanted to be like the fastest, I wanted to be the most technical, I wanted to, you know, be like, I don't know, impressive from that
translate
point.
Before I forget it. Ну, в общем, он говорит, что сейчас особо не концентрируется на технике, в отличие от того периода, когда он был моложе. Вот тогда он думал, чтобы стать быстрее, техничней. Вот, а сейчас...
Yeah, so now for me it's more playing stuff that, I don't know, like, it gives me a sense of fulfillment. Like, I'm playing stuff that I actually sonically and kind of, like, I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of, it must be an age thing. Like, when you're younger, you want to be the most impressive at that particular thing, but as you get older, that kind of doesn't excite me as much as, say, writing a song that I'm really proud of, that I think displays my musicality rather than my technical ability,
like
if you know what I mean.
Compositor?
Yeah, that kind of thing. But, I mean, obviously there's still technique in the songs that I do, but I feel like the technique serves the song more than the song being about the technique, if you know what I mean.
Ну, в общем, подход у человека изменился. Если раньше он хотел произвести на кого-то впечатление, быть техничным, то сейчас он больше думает о том, чтобы сделать песню, которая понравилась, и мыслит больше как композитор. Вот. Ну, это если вкратце. А потом мы, я надеюсь, придумаем какие-нибудь субтитры и все это подробно разберем. Thinking about your technique, it seems that you need a lot of time to practice every day. Is it true? Sorry. Ну, я спросил, что, глядя на его технику, кажется, что ему нужно много времени, чтобы заниматься каждый день. Это вот так вообще?
Yeah, I think the most I end up playing is when I'm recording. That's when I do most of my practicing and playing and stuff like that. Or if I'm getting ready to do some live shows or touring. But if I'm not doing either one of those things, my day-to-day practice routine, I don't really play that much. I might just pick up for half an hour and just play unplugged in front of the television and then put it down and then do something else. But like one thing I have realised... Sorry.
Let me translate.
Sorry.
Ну, на самом деле, что когда вот он там готовится к записи, то, конечно, он там играет, все это отрабатывает. Когда ездит в туры, тоже вот, ну, приходится, он играет концерты, да, то есть это и есть его занятие. Но когда вот он не готовится к записи, не ездит в туры, то не играет особо много, ну, примерно там 1,5 часа. При этом он может это совмещать с какими-то приятными там занятиями, сидеть, смотреть, например, по телеку какой-нибудь там сериал или там Comedy Club наш, да, и вот поигрывать на гитаре, как-то вот так вот.
Yeah, one thing I have realised is that playing an instrument, apart from the physical side of it, it's all in the head. So sometimes I've had situations where I haven't been able to rehearse physically. I end up just playing songs in my head because your brain controls your hand. Like it's not just a case of training this. And I've realised that I don't need to practice like every day because I'm not going to forget what I learned. The only reason to practice for me is to just keep the physical ability to be able to do that stuff. But yeah, like I say, most of the time when I'm coming up with new ideas or practicing or trying to develop new techniques is normally when I'm recording an album, because then I can come up with a new idea and then record it, and then that way I don't forget it as much. Because if I have to play that song, I have to play that technique. So.
Ну, в общем, дай мне Господь большой памяти. Суть в чем? Что с годами Энди осознал, что ему не нужно особо много сильно заниматься именно пальцами и физически, потому что очень часто у него песня звучит в голове, он ее там проигрывает. Вот. И на самом деле башка, она важнее, чем руки, и башка управляет нашими пальцами и руками. Вот. Но, конечно, физическую форму нужно пальцев поддерживать, потому что это все физика, и от этого никуда не денешься. Ой, Господи, что я несу? I said, oh my God. What I said.
Oh.
Because my memory is very small.
Oh, is it? Right,
Yeah.
okay. Where is
It's so
Dimitri's
small,
gone?
like penis of all England. Yeah.
What, he told you he had a small penis? I mean,
it's-
for such
he's
a tall guy, you would expect everything to kind of be in proportion.
Yeah, but he said that he has a very small. He said that several
Yeah,
times.
but he's like 7 foot tall, so a small penis might be like fucking that for everyone else.
Yeah. It's a regular situation. It's not news because he's from Sweden. You know, only Russian and England guys is very nice guys, but not Sweden.
Fair enough.
Okay. You also guitar teacher.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah. Could you say what is the main problem or main mistakes of young guitar players for now, for this kind of moments? Ладно, translate. Ну, я
Yeah.
сказал, что он же еще и преподает, и я говорю, ну вот ты вот как считаешь, вот самая главная проблема и ошибка молодых гитаристов, она в чем заключается? Ну, помимо хороших гитар, дорогих.
I'd say it's probably 3 things. Too much gain,
3 вещи. Слишком много гейна,
not enough mid-range, so scooped guitar
слишком
tone,
мало середины там.
and they don't spend enough time on bending and vibrato, you know.
Ну, и уделяет мало времени на отработку бендов и вибрато.
So yeah, I would say they're the 3 things that I always notice with people, and then I try and help them with that, and then move on.
Ну, вот он говорит, что это вот 3 самых главных ошибки, вообще распространенные вещи, которые вот он встречает у молодых гитаристов. But how about the brain of these guys?
Well, they wanna do everything yesterday, and it takes a long time. You know, you have to. I mean, I've been playing guitar 25 years, and I still haven't really figured out everything to do with my own playing. So you are always learning new stuff. But I think guys now, because of the internet and because of the instant nature of the way we live, people see someone play a song and they go, I want to do that. And then when they can't do it in like a week, they get really frustrated and put the guitar down and don't. It needs work, there's not. I can't sit here and give somebody a golden sentence and go, if you do this, you'll be a great guitar player. You just have to do the work. That's as easy as that,
But
hard as that.
Do you still listen to guitar music? I mean modern guitar music, new albums.
What you mean, like instrumental?
Yeah,
albums?
I mean instrumental, because a lot of guitar players who play instrumental music, they didn't listen to other guitar music.
Yeah,
that's something strange, because if you play this kind of music, you like this kind of music. But if you like, you have to listen to this kind of music.
Well, yeah, it sounds a bit weird, but the way I write music is because the instrumental music that I like is kind of older stuff. So like some of the newer stuff is probably maybe a little bit more.
What kind of old stuff?
Well, like Tony McAlpine albums, Vinnie Moore albums, those guys used to write songs as well as have the amazing technique.
But Tony looks very modern. 8
Yeah.
strings guitar and a lot of very nice music.
Yeah. I mean, so, I still listen to stuff like that occasionally, but I think the reason why guys like me don't probably listen to other instrumental music is because it will start bringing in too much influence from somebody else and what they're doing. I think the best way to stay individual in that moment is there's a fine line, because obviously there's influences from different guitar players. And then when it comes to making my own music, I don't use any of those influences directly. So I don't listen to it. I just sit down and go, right, what would I do? But there does happen like a crossover where you stop trying to be like everybody else and then you start doing what you would do, but using influences that you've had growing up. It's a really weird thing that happens, but yeah, I can understand that a lot of guys don't listen to that sort of music so they can truly write something that in that moment they know that they've come up with themselves and not drawn from, stolen someone else's idea, indirectly kind of thing.
But did you feel any influence on your music? Do you see any influence in your records?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest influence for me is probably John Petrucci, like in the way that I approach certain harmony.
It's opposite
and
to
stuff.
Slash.
It is, but Slash was a really good, solid grounding in how to come up with melodies that work for the music that you're playing to. Like, in my opinion, Slash is one of the most amazing melody writers in terms of playing just the right thing for the song.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still very much that element of his playing that I like. But obviously, guys like John Petrucci, they kind of take that and they've taken it to a completely new level.
It's
but still keeping it, but still keeping it melodic and interesting, So yeah, there's that. But like, I mean, this album was influenced by probably old Def Leppard records, a bit of Five Finger Death Punch, probably a bit of Joe Satriani. Obviously, Petrucci with my kind of... I mean, my playing is sort of like a mixture of Zakk Wylde, John Petrucci and Andy Timmons, like those three.
Andy Timmons.
So, if I had to sum it up in 3 players, I would probably say that. Maybe other people wouldn't hear that, but yeah. And then, I don't know, I guess there's some electronic elements in the album as well. Like, I like kind of 80s. I like 80s stuff, anything 80s I like. So I really wanted to try and capture some of that on the album.
But do you like classic music? Because listening to your new album, sometimes I found myself that it's very close to classic music.
Classic? Do you mean classical or?
Yeah, classical, yeah.
Oh, right.
Not classic rock.
No, but I think you know, we were talking about influences, and like obviously Malmsteen has kind of come into that as well. So, you know, and obviously Tony McAlpine, Vinnie Moore, they all were like neoclassical based guitar players. So obviously,
Vinnie Moore.
yeah, of course. So like, I think some of that has been like an indirect influence into how I conceive of writing that kind of thing. Like the opening song for the album is just guitar with synth, and that has kind of a classical movement in it.
It's like Bach something from this.
Yeah.
I mean, sequence.
But weirdly enough, like when you listen to say like, I don't know, like the Tron soundtrack for Disney that Daft Punk made, there's classical elements in that, but it's electronic as well at the same time. So the joining of classical sounding progressions with a more modern sort of sound, I think those two go together really well. So that was definitely something that I gravitated towards when doing some of the stuff on the album, definitely.
Okay, you're now with the Roland & Boss Clinic.
Yes.
Could you say anything about Roland & Boss? Why we have to buy the products of these brands?
I think, honestly, I was at the John Petrucci camp in August, and Roland Boss had the Katana amps. Now, Boss had contacted me previously to ask me to do a demo for the new Metal Zone pedal with the Wazza technology in it. So I did that, I got the pedal, I really liked it. And then when I went to the Petrucci camp, I plugged into one of these amps and I was like, okay, now this sounds really good. Like, and it's pretty cheap, like they don't cost a lot of money. So I've been doing some recording recently just using the Boss Katana and nothing else. And I've been getting some great... Yeah, I reckon the next album that I do, I shall probably use that because it just sounds great, you know. And in my clinics, I talk about, you know, the sound that I like and how to record guitars and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, sorry, but it's time for us. And,
oh, okay, cool.
And it's the last question. Of course, we're in Russia about vodka. Did you taste it?
I did,
here?
yeah. We had some vodka last night and it was, it nearly blew my head off.
Is it drinking vodka in Russia has any difference between drinking vodka out of Russia, outside?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're going to drink vodka, the best place to do it is Russia because, you know, that's like the birthplace of vodka, is it?
Because for me, sorry, when I drank Guinness in Dublin, it was in our feeling
it's much better.
Guinness in Moscow.
I had the same experience a couple of years ago when, well, actually last year, we were on tour and I'd never had Guinness before. So when we were in Dublin, I thought, right, I'm going to have a Guinness.
Because it's everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, that was the best Guinness that I had because I quite liked it. But when I went to somewhere else outside of Ireland, didn't like it. It wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, because it's real.
Yeah.
It's original.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to wish to you luck in your clinic, not only in Moscow and in our sites. And thank you for visiting us. Thank you for your music, for your albums.
Yeah, no worries.
So say goodbye to our people.
Thanks for having me, Russia. Any of you guys coming down tonight, I'll see you later. And I hope to come back soon. Thanks very much.
Приходите на мастер-класс сегодня вечером в 6 часов в Мусторг. А Энди надеется, что он еще приедет и еще увидится. В общем, все будет зашибись. Вот. Эфир получился немного спонтанным, наш переводчик пропал. Вот. Но я надеюсь, что это лучше, чем ничего. В общем, рок-н-ролла вам. Любите музыку, лайкайте, подписывайтесь, пишите комментарии. И всего хорошего. А на следующей неделе у нас будет эфир с нашим молодым дарованием, русским закладом, Павлом Поповым. В общем, до встречи. Пока. С вами был Живой Уголок и компания Pop Music. И Энди Джеймс.